Hello again. I spoke earlier today about the way in which Ireland seems keen on abandoning its own distinctive culture and history and adopting the all-purpose multicultural version of history which those of us in Britain are only too familiar with. During October, which is Black History Month in Britain, a decision had apparently been made that Irish people, via their national broadcasting service, are to be indoctrinated with the same nonsense that so many of us in Britain are weary of. Where better for the propaganda to begin than with Mary Seacole? In the description to this video, I give a link to a 3.5 minute film produced by the Irish National Broadcasting Service, with evident intent of seeing how many lies can be told on this subject in the allotted time. It's a bit like the English programme on the wireless called Just a Minute. I also give links to information on the internet which anybody can find revealing these lies. I invite viewers to watch the clip of film and then listen to what I have to say on the subject. I shall list the lies as they occur. The first lie is given at 1 minute and 22 seconds into the clip, when we are told that Mary Seacole heard about the Crimean War while she was in Central America and wanted to help, and so went to the War Office in London. In fact, Seacole had invested all her savings into a gold mining business in Central America called the New Granada Gold Mining Company. She thought it would be easier to draw in new investors if it were to be floated on the London Stock Exchange, which is why she travelled to London in 1854. Nothing to do at all with the Crimean War. She ran out of money in London and then decided to go into business in the Crimea. She had already run a canteen restaurant in Central America, which worked out fairly well. Her mother ran a similar establishment in Jamaica. We are told that Mary Seacole tried to join Florence Nightingale's team of nurses going to the Crimea, but at 1 minute and 33 seconds the narrator says, sadly, Mary was turned down. This is untrue. All the nurses who went with Nightingale were required to make written applications and provide 2 references. Seacole did not do this. She just hung around the lobby of the War Office and collared passing men and asked for their help. She was not turned down. She didn't even bother to apply. At 1 minute 38 seconds, we are told that in 1855, Seacole set off for the Crimea in a ship stocked with medical supplies. Another falsehood. What she had actually done was formed a new business with a man called Thomas Day, who was also mixed up with the New Granada Gold Mining Company. They decided to open an officers' club to provide food, cigars, alcohol and luxury goods for the officers. I also give a link about this in the description to the video. At 3 minutes and 40 seconds, we are told that many of the soldiers were cold, hungry and dirty. This may well be so, but Seacole did not open her establishment for such men. It was an officers' mess. Ordinary soldiers, weren't allowed in. 3 minutes 40 seconds, and we're told a place where soldiers could rest and buy hot food. No soldiers were allowed in. Nobody rested there at all. People went there to pay for things, to buy champagne and cigars and lobsters. As well as treating soldiers at her hotel, Mary would visit the battlefield on her horse, taking sandwiches, drinks and bandages with her. No soldiers or officers were ever treated at the British Hotel. This is a lie. She took the sandwiches and drinks to the battlefield to sell to the spectators who were standing on nearby hills watching the fighting. This was a business. During the 19th century, a lot of battles took place, even Waterloo. Civilians used to gather to watch as though it was an entertainment, and there was business to be made from selling them sandwiches and drinks, so it was spectator sport. I could go on through the entire thing, but I think we get the point. It would take anybody interested in the matter 5 minutes to find all the information on the internet to show what rubbish this account is. I must assume that both the narrator and also the staff at RTE, the broadcasting service, know that they are broadcasting a lot of nonsense and trying to pretend that it is history. After all, this video is labelled a history lesson, and whoever made it knows it's not true. The obvious question we ask is, why are they so determined to mislead people with false information in this way? I mean, the first question I ask myself is why the National Broadcasting Service of Ireland is putting out stuff about a Jamaican in the first place. She never set foot in Ireland, and I can't for the life of me think of any Irish connection at all that Mary Seacole had. I can see two explanations for this sudden keenness to have a black Miss Ireland and to commemorate a Jamaican nurse who has nothing to do with Ireland. These two explanations are not mutually exclusive. That is to say, it may be that both are true. The first is that the current politicians in Ireland are embarrassed by the fact that their nation is so monocultural and white, and they feel a bit left out on the global stage. After all, Britain, France, Germany and Sweden are all multicultural. We'll look like a bunch of racists if we're not careful, think Irish politicians. I'm pretty sure that this foolish mentality plays at least a part in what we have been looking at today. Then too, the EU must surely have noticed that Ireland is relatively sparsely populated, and the Union is always looking for places to dump the many asylum seekers and refugees who enter Europe. Some countries, Hungary for example, won't play at all, and Poland is also going the same way. I strongly suspect that Ireland has been earmarked for a large share of the refugees which are supposed to be distributed fairly across the whole of the European Union. Italy and Greece are always moaning about having so many of them, being in a sense on the front line. Why not ship them to Ireland? This will both ensure that in a few years Ireland's culture is less Celtic and more global, and also provide a land border for refugees to enter the United Kingdom. Once they're in Ireland, all they need to do is shred their papers and then cross into the north. Hey presto, no longer a problem for the EU, but something for Britain to deal with. That will pay the British back for leaving Europe. As I say, I rather think that both these things play a part in what we are seeing. Obviously something odd is going on, because otherwise what on earth is causing Ireland to broadcast stupid and obvious lies about a Jamaican restaurant owner in the 19th century?